Welcome back to the channel, everybody. All right, today we're going to tackle some very serious articles today, all right? Now, we're going to have to put some things together, but we're going to start it off just like this. This article is titled, Escalating National Debt in the U.S. Deemed the, quote, the greatest threat, unquote, by bipartisan lawmakers. Now, if you remember in 2023 and a good part of 2022, I was talking all about the U.S. debt and the global debt, wasn't I? I told people this was going to be a problem. And then in 2023, out of nowhere, I don't know why they made this decision, but lawmakers, quote unquote, decided to remove the cap on the debt. What? And I told people, I said, wait, this is going to be a problem, because at that point, they began racking up record amounts of debt. Now, a lot of people wrote that off. I heard you. I know I heard what you said. I know your perspective, but I had to and have to respectfully disagree. You cannot continue to run up that type of debt, even if the dollar is the top currency in the world reserve currency, all that good stuff. I get it. I understand. But with the time period we're in, where there's multiple threats of pulling the rug from out underneath the United States, you have the BRICS nation thing going on. You have even if it's not the BRICS nation, you have a whole host of nations trying to get rid of the dollar. You have the banking problems, a lot of banks probably going to collapse in the next 2 years. You have a lot of top minds telling you that, right? You have the business problem in the United States. The small businesses have been getting body slammed. You have that going on. Nobody's talking about that. How, a lot of businesses have left the U.S. to survive. That's not even including the ones that have left the U.S. because of regulatory scrutiny. Then the job problem, and there is a job problem, folks. You need to go hear out those people that are on the ground looking for jobs. There's something strange going on. I'll just leave it there. It's not what the data is leading people to believe. But the businesses that have been leaving en masse from the United States or getting put out of business, if they're small businesses, the tightening of lending from the banks, that I said that too. I said, if they have to tighten the belt, they have to tighten up real hard. Just like what Janet Yellen said in 2023. I said, listen, that's going to be bad for small businesses and medium-sized businesses. They need that lending, right? And they were already struggling. So then that was happening. The United States has so many problems right now. People better take note of that, in my humble opinion. Now, that's a beautiful setup for the new financial system. That's what I'm leading to. See, there's like two things going on here. One thing is going down and one thing is going to go up because the other goes down. Now, you look at statements, and I'm putting a whole lot on here. We'll get back to the article. Just stick with me. You listen to statements in the past. Don't just write them off. Keep them like in your file cabinet in your mind. There's a reason they were said, and there's a reason more than just, they went away from that idea. For example, how Ripple said themselves they wanted XRP to be the bank's Bitcoin. Keep that in mind. That's going to be key. Why? So it doesn't mean that they abandon that idea just because they don't mention it anymore. Maybe they don't want people to know about it. Maybe they want to hush that up a little bit. Once you say it one time, do you really have to say it over and over again? Just like the whole world reserve currency thing. That we'll get to that another time, because people better watch the dollar. I always said this is not about outside forces causing problems in the U.S. It's not about outside forces toppling the United States, right? Or bringing it down or any of that. People always go straight to that. Some outside force could never defeat the U.S. It's about the U.S. defeating itself. It's about the powers in the U.S. not respecting the U.S. how people see it. They see the U.S. as a business, and if business is bad, then I firmly believe this, they feel like you need to destroy it and rebuild it. The question that people need to have is, how does that affect them? Because they don't look at the people as people. They look at the people as more like employees almost, right? So you get fired, you get fired. You want to stick around while everything is rebuilt, so be it. I think that's how they look at it. If you look at how everything is going so far, unless these so-called powers are just completely incompetent, if they're not completely incompetent, then a lot of what's going on right now over the last few years, where it has put the United States in a very bad position, has been done with a purpose. Now, that let's go back to that. Now, we need all of that to go to that statement about they want XRP to be the bank's Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin meant to do? It's meant to, in my humble opinion, from what I know, and if you know something different, let me know. If you disagree with me, that's fine. I'm not here to convince anybody. I'm just a researcher sharing a little bit of opinion here and there. All right. Bitcoin is meant to allow the people to operate and survive without a banking system. They don't need a banking system, right? So if we take that, I mean, that's just a few dimensions of Bitcoin, okay? But if we take that idea and put it to XRP, when we hear a statement like that years ago about we want XRP to be the bank's Bitcoin, then that would logically mean that there would need to be some reason the banks need to rely on XRP other than cross-border payments. They'd like to throw that out there at you, but don't forget, world reserve currency. Don't forget the banks are doing terrible. Don't forget that hundreds upon hundreds of them could collapse, and that could cause a domino effect. Don't forget that the shadow banks could take down the financial system, causing massive problems. So that means just like the people need a way to be able to operate and transact without the banks need a way to operate and transact if they themselves get into trouble, because they operate like shells within shells. Like this, the body of it can have a problem, but the people that are important within that system want to be able to isolate themselves, maintain their wealth, and build liquidity cushions so that they can survive. Something must survive. It's like if that little bit survives, then they can always rebuild, but they need a way to survive. Right now, they're just 100% on the legacy system island, which could completely go capsize, and it would be just tragic for them. But with the new financial system, with XRP, XLM, they can create the biggest liquidity pool the earth has ever seen. They can survive. They can send money back and forth within a second any problem pops off. They can monitor what's going on. There's a reason they're accelerating the adoption of these new systems. People don't get it yet. And hey, I'm not here to help you get it. I'm just putting information on the table. You research it yourself. Every single thing that I say, you can look it up, research it. I want you to, right? But let's go here. But let's circle back around, because this is serious business. I have more articles. Listen, if you like this video, I know it's getting a little intense. Click that like button, smash that like button for me, please. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, smash that subscribe button. Also, I have more articles that are going to really pop your eyes open if it hasn't already, if you're not privy and abreast to this information, because it's getting hot. All right. So now let's scroll down here. Escalating national debt in the U.S. deemed, quote, greatest threat. This is something the U.S. did to itself. You have bipartisan lawmakers telling you now. Alphany's been telling you for about a year and a half, but now I love it when they back me up and prove me right. I said this. All right, let's scroll down here. It says here, a bipartisan group of U.S. lawmakers, including Senators Mitt Romney, Republican of Utah, and Joe Manchin, Democrat of West Virginia, as well as Representatives Bill Huizenga. My apologies, I'm not familiar with some of these individuals. Bill Huizenga of Michigan and Scott Peters of California has sounded the alarm about the rapidly escalating national debt of the United States. Wait a minute. And it's so hilarious that now this is getting all the press. This is on all these different websites. I know, because I was researching today. But when the economists last year were screaming it, nobody cared. All the websites, they didn't write about it. Isn't that interesting? They're waiting till the last second. This is already out of hand. But let's keep going. Let's keep going. And when all of this happens, if that were to collapse, if everything were to go down, sure, there might be a little dip in the market. Things will skyrocket because people will be fleeing the ship. They would be fleeing the ship, looking for the fastest way to move their money. That, my apologies, is not going to come through Bitcoin. A lot of people will go to Bitcoin. A lot of people will go to gold as well. But they will be looking at something that could be liquidated super fast, super secure. They will be looking for something where you could deploy smart contracts. You already hear about smart contract implementation on the XRPL. Stellar has it coming as well. They're working on their bug. That's great. Get that out there. They're going to go to the best of the best. And certain things, not financial advice, certain things can skyrocket if that were to occur, whenever it is. Whenever it is. I don't have a timeline. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm just laying it out there on the table. That's all. But let's go here. It says here, national debt surpasses the $34 trillion mark. They know it's not sustainable. The question is, you tell me why they're doing that. It's wholly irresponsible. I don't care who's doing it. I'm not a part of any of their systems. I don't care who's doing it. You tell me why they're doing it. That's the question, right? The United States national debt recently surpassed the staggering $34 trillion mark, increasing by over $82 billion since the beginning of January. $82 billion. This ominous milestone has raised concerns about the long-term consequences of the country's fiscal challenges. The national debt equates to over $100,000 per citizen and a staggering $264,000 per taxpayer. Moreover, the official U.S. federal budget, and that's another thing. If you have skyrocketing debt, how do they circumvent the problems with that? I mean, like that temporary Band-Aid. You don't think that leads to higher interest rates longer or higher taxes? Like, how do they? People are getting it. They got getting it yet. There's a lot of dominoes here. They're all connected. All right, but some of you already know that. Says in their article, the bipartisan lawmakers assert that the current trajectory of the national debt is unsustainable. That's what I just said. I just said the same thing. Many economists, like I said, have said the same thing. They're professionals. They're not these guys. These guys know very little. They're getting the information from advisors. They're not professional economists, but the economists who do this for a living has said this all 2023. And I understand what they're saying as a researcher. It says here, they assert that the current trajectory of the national debt is unsustainable and requires immediate attention. Look how they're saying it, immediate attention. But is there anyone paying attention? No, there's not. Which means what? There isn't a remedy, which in my humble opinion means that it's on purpose. So if we're in for some sort of crisis, and that's what I'm assuming that's what they're going to get here too. If there's some sort of crisis coming, they have to have a new system to replace the old system that's not functioning. It can only go so far. I don't know what that's going to mean when it comes to an end, but it can only go so far, especially before the people are pushed so far that they have to start asking questions. You might say, why would the people be pushed too far? Let's keep going, and they're going to tell you. So let's skip a little bit of that part here. Social Security. Let me say that again. Social Security on the brink. Really? Let's read this little tidbit here. I'm giving you the hardcore stuff today. Highlighting the gravity of the situation, the lawmakers warn that if the status quo is maintained, Social Security could become insolvent in less than a decade. What? Really? That doesn't concern the people. Leading to an automatic 24% cut in benefits. What is required right now? I know a lot of you know this, so it's a rhetorical question. What is it required right now for the average person to survive in the United States respectably right now? And then tell me also, what is the average of benefits that people are receiving from Social Security right now? Now, just imagine that. If you understand, you've seen the charts and stuff lately, you know where I'm going. But then take that and then do a 24% cut if that were to happen, because it's not saying that this is a guarantee. I don't want to make it seem like that. No, not guaranteed, but something we're paying attention to because it's leading that way. And there's a high possibility of that being the path that everything goes down. You get what I'm saying? But not a guarantee. But just imagine if there was a 24% cut to that amount. That's unbelievable. And that's going to lead to an article later that's going to make a lot of sense here, where you can't afford for this to be occurring. Or there's a massive collapse or crisis coming, right? Chaos. But let's keep going here. I'm just being honest. If it's a great article or it makes me happy or fun or something like that, I'm like, yay. But if it's not, I'm like, hey, you might want to look over here a little bit there, bub. It says, this potential crisis looms large for millions of Americans who rely on Social Security as a critical source of income during their retirement years. Keep in mind all the articles which have been written as of late about the people who are approaching that age, saying they've been exhausting their savings accounts just to survive in this environment where everything is so high priced. Even though they tell you, oh, we've solved inflation, everything's going good, we brought it down a great deal. I mean, hey, if people believe that, so be it. But the people are spending money and running out of money in their savings accounts. That's just a fact that you can look at when you look at the M2 money supply. You can just look. This stuff is easily looked up, right? So that's factual that people are running down their savings accounts. Then they maxed out their credit cards. So yeah. So I mean, so if there's a huge dent in that Social Security and the people have nothing else to fall back on, where does that lead? And this is another reason why people are trying to make life-changing gains now. Make sense? Because they understand, like, even if they haven't read all the different research, they can feel it. They can feel it in the air. I don't know how to put it. They can feel that they need to get this money now. They need to get this value now, stack up everything that they can now, because something is coming. They don't know what, something's coming. I could be wrong, but that's what I've been gleaming. That's what I've been reading and feeling from the people. All right. So let's scroll down here, see if there's any global. And that's another thing. Can't forget the global aspect, but we're not going to get to that today. Global debt surge. Listen, I firmly believe that they believe that the new financial system is their way. It's not for everybody. Listen, I know a lot of people are going to go against that. But with the utility coins, they are intended to be utilized by large institutions, by those who are pushing them. Who is Ripple's main clients? Like I said, I know a lot of people will go against this and say, no, they're not only for the banks. Technically, yeah, they're not only for the banks. Technically, because anybody can get their hands on them and use them. But at their peak, they're made to be used by big institutions. The more money flows through them, the lower the transaction fees, the faster it works, it moves. They're advertised mostly to big institutions, to the banks, central banks, B2B, cross-border payment, business to business. I mean, so you tell me how that's not them being mainly for the banks, right? So I believe they're looking at that and saying to themselves, okay, we have another system to replace this one. This one's going south. There's no saving it. There's no saving it. Let it go south. Right. In fact, I think some entities are actually aiding it, getting everything they can out of it. They're squeezing the sponge dry. Think about that for a minute. Look at everything that's going on. They're squeezing the sponge dry and they're going to throw it away because they have a new sponge. Look at their transition into Bitcoin. It was so rapid. It was so underhanded. Why now? Why now? Right? Knowing that Bitcoin can explode in price. Why do they need that now? They need it now. They want it now because something's happening now. All right, so now let's go here. I had an article. I want to do another one first. So let me replace that article, okay? Let me replace that one because this one is more important and directly linked to what we're covering here. Don't worry, we have an XLM related article coming after this chapter, okay? But this article here is related to the one I was just reading, in my humble opinion, and it is titled, this is why the people of the United States can't afford for this to continue to go wrong, or they better be ready to make life-changing gains. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling anybody to do anything. Okay. This is my opinion, but this is why I believe that they better be making life-changing gains, saving money. I know people, it hurts them so bad to hear that. I'm not a flosser. I'm not a flexer. I don't care about having listen, I'm not trying to shine. Mentally, I hope I shine, but superficially, no. I'm all about saving money. I'm the one that tells the people. When people came to me, last that first bull run when we started the channel, everybody's making all these millions and such, right? People come to me, oh, Mick, let's get some Lambos and we're gonna get some Lambos. And I'm like, well, no. I'm literally the person that's telling people, don't get any Lambos. Save that money. Invest it or something, save it. I don't care what you do with it, but just hold on to it in case you need it for the future. I'm all about living well. living well. That has nothing to do with superficialities where you're blowing money and losing value on things that really you're not going to care about in the long run anyway, really. But anyway, this is one of the examples why I'm all about saving capital, preserving capital. Sure, life is risky, but not taking unnecessary risk either to lose everything you have, gambling. You know what I mean? Like, this article is titled, "Record Number of Americans Are Homeless Amid Nationwide Surge in Rent." Remember, I'm glad this article popped up. Remember, I was telling everybody this was happening. And it's funny. Some people in the comment sections disagreed, even though I was speaking from articles. Although articles don't guarantee anything is real, but I've even seen videos of people saying, "Hey, I couldn't afford rent. Now I live in my car." There's a big, huge car thing going on for a while. Then it turned into a big, huge, what do you call that? Like people living in their vans. They call it van life. Look that up. I was telling people this and people are like, "Oh, Mick, come on, Mick." And I'm like, I'm a researcher. I'm talking from things that I've read, data that you can find also. I didn't understand that, but maybe some people just contrarian. They just want to go against the grain. But this is true. So now it's gone from that to where people have used up all their money. They can't even buy vans and RVs anymore because those are getting expensive because the industry recognizes that people need them now. They boosted some of them prices up. That's how it goes. Just like the tiny home thing. People, for a while they were interested in tiny homes. And then the industry realized, oh, hey, there's demand for this. Those prices went from like $9,000, $10,000, $12,000 to like $20,000. Price went up. So now the people can't get that. So now the people are scrambling to find, they're living with their family members or they're living in tents and stuff like that. I'm just giving you the real. So this is what I'm saying. That record debt and all of the ways that the United States has been used to, the pathway they've been used to walking, it has to change. It has to evolve. It has to. And now many people out there may not be seeing this. You may not be seeing this. You may not be privy to this. You get what I'm saying? And that's okay. And that's good. I'm glad you're not going through any of these struggles, but a lot of people are, and we need to keep our eye on that because, all of our environments are sort of connected. We don't need chaos everywhere. We want to thrive and live peacefully. But it says here, a growing number of Americans are ending up homeless as soaring rents in recent years squeeze their budgets. According to a January 25th report from Harvard's Joint Center for Housing Studies, roughly 635,000 people reported experiencing homelessness in January 2023. It says up roughly 12%, folks, from the same time a year prior and 48% from 2015. That marks the largest single year increase in the country's unhoused population on record. Harvard, this is from Harvard. Harvard, you've been doing a good job. I'm going to clap it up for Harvard. I'm going to say Harlem. Harvard. Calm down, Harlem. All right, calm down. I'm in Harvard, all right? Harlemites. People from Harlem are like, clap it up for us too. Just cause. All right, you get a little clap, why not? They also were like, pause right there. Anyway, Harvard researchers said they've done a good job. Yeah, because they've done a great job when Harvard Law was going into the Ripple versus SEC case. And and I told you they were right. Didn't I tell you when they released those two articles? And what happened? We defeated the SEC with the exact things that they were saying from Harvard Law. So anytime Harvard speaks now, they've earned my respect. 100%. All right. So it says homelessness. All right. So then they go into certain states, California, Washington. It says has also increased in historically more affordable. Oh, wait, let's not skip that part. That's important. Homelessness, long a problem in states such as California and Washington, has also increased in historically more affordable parts of the U.S. Arizona, Ohio, Tennessee, and Texas have seen the largest growth in their unsheltered populations due to rising local housing costs. We also covered the housing market a lot, especially on the other channel. I haven't done any videos on the other channel in quite some time, but I may get back on there. But right now, Right now, I'm only here on YouTube, just so everybody knows I'm not anywhere else. You're not going to find Alphanim anywhere else. If you see something somewhere else, that's not me. I'm only right here on YouTube. That's it for now. So it says the alarming jump in people struggling to keep a roof over their head came amidst blistering inflation that we know. So we're going to skip that little part, but I wanted to put that there, okay? Because that's very, very important. All right. Like I said, this is another reason why a lot of people are trying to make life-changing gains. They're trying to make lifestyle changes. This is one of the reasons the legacy system is employing a lot of different tactics. As a matter of fact, they're protecting themselves in every possible way. If you know, right? They're getting out of dodge as well. It's another thing that's very interesting to see. A lot of individuals taking certain actions and activities. I'll be a little obtuse with what I'm saying. But financially speaking, they are they're building their private ecosystems, right? Where, I mean, listen, there's so much going on. The new financial system is in a beautiful position. And I think those who are involved, once again, not financial advice, those who are involved in the new financial system, new 1%, like Kai used to say in the comment section, new 1%, I think possible, highly possible, depending, highly possible. So now let's move on to a little bit of Stellar related news, right? You thought I was just going to get deep with Ripple and XRP, because they're all tied so deeply. I'm sure some other people will add to that, probably in the comment section or maybe somewhere else. They'll add to what I just said with that situation. There's a collapse coming, and the collapse, the phoenix rises out of the ashes. I don't know how better to look at it. I'm telling you. So now let's go here. This is from World Economic Forum's website, weforum.org. Now, keep in mind, Stellar, if you look at it, one may say, okay, well, the United Nations and the Stellar aid disbursement, you know, how they help people send in the money everywhere. That's a good partnership. But, you know, I like to see a little bit more. Why did they make that partnership? They may have some questions. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Sneaky Stellar. You have to always think a step ahead when it comes to Stellar, because they're very smart. I'm gonna tell you, first of all, they know how to keep quiet, and they're very, very smart. There's always a deeper reason why they do things. Now, you make up your own mind how you feel about Stellar. That's up to you. Okay. I know how I feel about Stellar, and I'm not asking anybody to feel the same. But when it comes to that Stellar aid disbursement platform, have you seen how many disasters have been increasing in the world? Of all kinds, natural disasters, and I wouldn't even say, I feel like they're increasing, at least the documentation of them, because more people have smartphones, more people it's much easier to just upload videos now that you have these very quick upload swipe sites like TikTok, and now you got YouTube Shorts as well. So it's much easier than a regular video with all that metadata. You could just upload your video, your little short, and then it just goes viral so crazy quickly. So I think that's probably really what it is. But what's startling is that a lot of these areas that are experiencing an increase in, let's say, natural disasters, or just experiencing them outright. You could go either way, increase, not increase, but we're just getting exposed more, whatever you want to put it. But they're not prepared, right? So you have that going on. You have geopolitical disasters going on. I was going to get to that. All these battles going on. Everybody's at each other's necks right now. You have that going on. And then you have the displacement of people looking for something better, and that shift is happening both ways. So what you're looking at is over the next 10 years, the next decade, a massive amount of people that may need money sent back and forth through something like the Stellar aid disbursement platform. They're going to need that aid to get dispersed because of natural disasters. They're going to need that aid to get dispersed because of geopolitical disasters. They're going to need that aid to get dispersed because maybe they were trying to go from here to there and they got stuck somewhere. And now they need help. That's going to increase. And the United Nations have to step in. They're using Stellar. See, Stellar is smart. So they knew, in my humble opinion, this increase was going to happen based on data, because see, these companies, if they don't have the best advisors, they can pay to get the best advisors to hand them research, right? So they know that's a lot of big money. That's power and money acquired. just with patience and time and having the best tech on the planet that the United Nations and the World Economic Forum wants to use. You see how they do that? And that's just one dimension of Stellar. That's just one aspect of Stellar. But it's very sneaky, but it's very, very smart in a questionable way, but I look at it like that. But listen to this little thing here. It says global, this is from the weforum.org. It's titled Global Risk Report 2024. But look what they say. As we enter 2024, results of the forum's Global Risk Perception Survey 2023-2024 highlight a predominantly negative outlook for the world over the short term. This is their global risk report. Predominantly negative. What do you know that we don't know? You see what I'm saying? So when you think about this and you think about how hugged up and squeezed up Stellar is with the World Economic Forum, for them to say this, then you have the United Nations is also right there with Stellar hugged up like they're a couple. And they have the Stellar aid disbursement. And it's like, that was so strategic in my mind. We'll see how this all plays out. I don't have a crystal ball, but just think about it. Nobody else did that. But Stellar goes in and says, OK, we have this information, this data. We think that there's going to be a need for aid. Let's put that out there. I mean, I don't believe in coincidences. Every effect has its cause and every cause has its B cause. It says over the short term, that is expected to worsen over the long term. So the negative outlook that they have for the world, this is their own words. It says over the short term is expected to worsen over the long term. Surveyed in September 2023, the majority of respondents, 54%, anticipate some instability and moderate risk of global catastrophes. You see? They're preparing for something. This is why they're getting all their DLTs, all their bank coins in place. Are you not seeing? Am I the only one seeing this? So the big banks around the world are rapidly adopting blockchain technology, DLT technology, Hashgraph, right? Then you have these powers like World Economic Forum, United Nations, the ones that want to move things, also doing it. You have the rapid movement towards smart contract utilization by these big companies and big powers, quote unquote. Why? Smart contracts, a measure of control. Right. There's a big power grab coming. You know how they have that phrase? What's that phrase that they always say? I've heard so many of these individuals say this stuff. You don't let something. It's like you don't let something bad go to waste. You don't let a good something go to waste. What is it called? It's right on the tip of my mind. You don't let, I think it's you don't let a good crisis go to waste. Something like that. And yeah, and that's nothing new. They've always done that. If something bad happens, they're going to capitalize on it, right? It says here, I think it's the same thing that's occurring with the replacing of the legacy system with the new financial system. If you look at it really in the future, there is no legacy system. There's the actors involved, but them as companies, like they cease to be what they are today. It's like the ending, the world as they know it ends, and there's a new one that begins. It's just a matter of who's going to profit off of it, right? It says here, so global catastrophes, while another 27% expect greater turbulence and 3% expect global catastrophic risk to materialize in the short term. Once again, what do they know that we don't? But if you look at everything, the setup is definitely there. There's a lot of tension in the world. If we are to believe what is being put out there, I'll put it that way, right? I'll keep that a little obtuse as well, because I don't believe everything that's put out there. I may look at it. I may absorb it. I'm going to question it. You know, my father raised me to question everything. He raised me to research everything as much as I can. But in the end, I have to use my own mind to decide what I believe is happening and is going to come. Right. That's always the most important thing, is you make decisions for yourself. Right. So now there's so much more we could go over here. I'm going to leave this at that right now to keep the video a little bit shorter. So, sorry, I had a little air like stuck in my chest. My apology. When I talk for a long time, that happens to me sometimes. So, now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.